All right. Hey, what's up, folks? This is April the 27th, 2025. I am Eric, your host. Let me see if I can get our screen better situated since we're all going to be using just the one display today. I'm not really sure. I know I had some stuff, video that I wanted to do yesterday, and then I didn't do the video, so I kind of forgot what I wanted to show you. But I think one of the things that came to mind that I did want to show you was the ability to put information on the chart like text. So I think Jim and I were talking one time. We are trying to figure out, different ways we could put information on the chart. So there's a couple different things that you can do. So I don't know if I can go through this as quickly as I want to, as quickly as I see it in my head, but let's do this. So let's do an indicator. I'll do an indicator. This will be 0427. Do this. Delete. We'll call it YouTube 042725. All right. So one of the first things that you can do is you can obviously just put a plot on the chart, right? So if it's the last bar on the chart, so if it's last x, then plot one low. So you can just do something simple like that. Come over here to 042725's indicator. What did I do with it? Well, I'm still trying to, and I told you guys before, like you can type in, like if I just type in letters, you can type in what you want to come up here, and then it will just scroll you to that spot in the list. So if I hit exclamation mark and then I hit 0, now it's not scrolling. So there is a trick. See, you see now that time it did it, right? I don't know what the trick is, but there is a trick that I'm not understanding what it is. So again, when I figure that out, I'll let you guys know. All right, so we're gonna hit OK there. So we're gonna drag this up to the scale of the actual chart. Again, so if it's on the last bar on the chart that we're gonna plot the low. That's one bit of information that you can add to the chart. You can do another something simple. Actually, we'll do this last bar on the chart, then begin. I guess the topic of today is just going to be bringing information to the chart. Maybe, I don't know. There is one that is like value 99, and you can just use anything for the variable of a number, and then it will say text new. And this is just using the information from just like easy language's basic text, being able to bring text to the chart. And you see when you hit the parentheses there, it'll tell you what day do you want to put it for, what time do you want to put it for, what price value level do you want to put it for, and then what does it say. So we're going to put it for the and actually this wouldn't be the current date, because the current date, if you look down at the bottom, it says 0425. Today is 0427, so we could not use D, because D would be today's date. That would be today's time. DT price, we'll put the low, and then we'll put hello. Verify that. Oh, it actually did put it. What? Daytime. Oh, it's working properly because we're asking for it to plot it when we're on the last bar of the chart, right? So if we pull this out, okay, so now we're just generally saying if the place on the chart is today, which today is the 27th, but this chart is on the 25th, and the time, which the time currently is 2:55 p.m., but the time here is 5 o'clock p.m. We're going to put it at the low and hello. Okay, so just verify that. Okay, so now we got it for every bar. Okay, all right, so this is why though, because for every bar, every time that you run this will be ran on every bar. And so every time we're on the bar, it's going to say, hey, we're going to plot this string of hello on whatever day of that bar, and that time of that bar, and the low of that bar, right? So on every bar, it's going to give us a string on that day that time that low. Okay. I think in my head, what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about current date, right? Current date. That is a ENC language reserve word. Current. Go down. Current time. So if we do it for current day and current time, again, today is the 27th at 2:55 p.m. or 2:56 p.m. And either one of these bars are not today's current time because this chart has not yet moved. This chart is referencing Friday. At the close of Friday, we have not got back into the new session for Sunday yet. All right, so now I'm going to verify this. Okay, and when I verify this, look at that. It's given us, interesting. I guess it's looking forward to the, now this is something I'm about to learn. Okay, so let's see if we can learn this together. I don't know. I guess it's plotting this string to where it would be on the chart would be today, right? Because this is the last bar on the chart. This last bar on the chart was the 25th. And then to the right of the chart, obviously, all this would be the new data. This will be in the future. And the current time, obviously, it would be in the future as well. Okay. So for every single bar on this chart, is giving me a new string. String here, string here, string here, string here. It's giving me a new string for every bar on this chart. And where on the y-axis is it giving me the value? It's giving it to me at whatever the low is of said bar. Low of this bar, or the low of this bar, the low of this bar, the low of this bar. All right. And I see that these strings are persisting also, right? So these ones that we did on each bar, they're persisting. So if I turn this off, see I have it turned off and these strings are still here. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder if I remove this study altogether, does it still show up? All right, I removed it and the string still stayed. Okay, again, that's good to know. So let's go back and add it again. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm just learning this stuff as I go. And as I learn stuff, I'm showing you guys. But now, yes, I do know quite a bit of stuff, but no, I don't know everything. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a control, what is it? At one time I had it as Shift R, Control R. All right, well, let's go here. We need to refresh this. We need to refresh this. There we go, Shift S. We need to refresh this chart and it should get rid of those. Should get rid of those texts. Okay, so it did. All right, so now let's come back over here. We're going to verify that. All right, so when we verify it, again, we still get these hellos here. Again, I would not really expect for us to get a hello in the future. So what we're going to do is, instead of putting current date, we're going to put, so today's date is the 27th. So we're going to put 125.04. We're going to put 28 and see what it does. But unfortunately here, I still have to refresh this chart. So let's put this on the 5-minute time frames. Okay, and we're going to come back and verify here. I'm going to change this. Okay, so it still gave us a string on every single bar, even though the date is the 28th. All right, so now let me put April the 30th. Verify that. When I put April the 30th, I don't know that it can. I think this is, since this is the first future position. It looks like it's just putting everything here on this first future position instead of putting one. So let's do current time plus 1. Well, current time. All right, to do this, we're gonna have to try something a little bit different. Using EL system, and then we're gonna have a variable to be date time, call it DT, null, and then we'll say that we'll do a once block to instantiate the DT. Once DT equals new date time, and then for every bar, we'll say that DT is equal to current time, or DT dot thinking we're going EL time is equal to current time, and then we'll just say we're going to add 1 minute onto this EL time. DT dot add minutes, we'll add 1, and so then when we come down here, instead of using current time, we're just going to use DT dot EL time. All right, I'm going to verify that. All right, so we verified it, no issues, but you see it still did not add. I would be expecting that it would add something right here, but I'm going to make a drawing object, right? So here's a drawing object. It's a circle. I can draw a circle there. I can draw a circle here, here, here. I can't draw one over this far. I clicked here, it'll go this way. When I start going this way, it won't go any further over here. So obviously there's some limitation as far as how far to the right into the future that you can put data, drawing objects, labels, that kind of thing. So it must just be on this very next position. So even though we added a minute to the date time, and so we should be putting it 1 minute to the right of this, we just still get it at that same, the next future location. Okay, so that makes sense. Typically what you do though is, instead of doing it like this, like I said, you might just do if last bar on the chart, if last X, then we're going to plot it. Okay, we need to get these other ones off here. Okay, right, so if there's a last bar on the chart, then we're going to plot this, but I plotted it for 1 minute in the future, and you can't plot for 1 minute in the future of this bar, right? If you do, then the best that it will do is put it right here. It won't put it any further out. So let's then remove this 1, and it should put it right here now. Should put it right in this spot, because that would be the last bar on the chart, right? Okay, so now let's verify this. Okay, still put it here. Last X, 6. Oh, yeah, I have the date as the 27th. Okay, so I need to move the date back to whatever the date is for this last bar on the chart. Okay, so let me verify it, and it should put it right here. Verify. Still didn't put it there. All right. Got the date time. Let's see. Date time is equal to current time. Okay, got it. Look, I put for the date time, I put the current time. The current time right now, as I'm recording this video, it is 3:05 in the afternoon, right? So this is using the current time, which is 3:05. Okay, and so that 3:05 is being assigned to the date time, which this date time over here is saying 5 o'clock, but we're not adding any minutes to the date time. But when we come down here for EL time, this time would be referencing this current time, which is 3:05. Okay. So it's probably not even putting anything right here. It's probably, I would think that it would be adding to this. I don't think it's adding to that. Let's change this to the 1 minute time frame. Okay, so to the 1 minute time frame. Now I'm going to verify this again. Right. So I verified it and it didn't put anything over here, right? Because if anything, the time that it would be putting something for 3:05 on this day. Whatever this day is, it would be putting back at 3:05. So let's go back and let's see if it happened at, yep, 3:05. Right, so the 3:05, it put it up here. Okay. Now the only thing that's curious about that, it put it at the low of this last bar on the chart. And this is why programming is confusing, right? So I'm gonna put a horizontal line. So I imagine that this is the low of the last bar on the chart. Let's go over here, let's go over here. Yep, this is the low of the last bar on the chart. This is the low from the last bar on the chart. So the price value that we're putting the string at is this low. Now I know I kind of went way sideways off the track of just putting labels on the chart, but I think a lot of this stuff is helpful in just helping you understand the significance of, well, one, I can tell you for a fact that using date time is a little bit convoluted, it can be confusing and complicated. So I hope that did help somebody and how to use the date time and how to add minutes and stuff to it. You can't just put +1. I mean, you can, but when you get to a certain number in the minutes, like if you're at minute 58, you can put +1 because it'll be at 59, and that's fine. But if you're at minute 58 and then you want to add 10 minutes to it, now instead of it being 58, 59, and then a new minute, and then you continue to add minutes onto it, no, it'll say 58 plus 10, which will be 68, and that won't make sense. So you really need to be using add minutes or use some type of time span. Okay, so you can go up here and you can use a time span, okay, class. All right, so that's one way that you can do it. All right, so the first way that you can add information to your chart, useful information, is by using a plot there. And then the second way you can do it is to add a string. Okay, so we added a string here with the text new. The other way that you can add a string is using the easy language objects, which I tend to prefer doing it that way because there's a little bit more of ability to modify the positions of the strings and the date times and all that kind of stuff. So we want to use drawing objects, and then we're going to have a text label, T label, declare it as null, and then also in our once block, we're just going to go ahead and declare that or instantiate it. T label equals new text label in that block. Okay, and so then if it's the last bar on the chart, okay, so if we verify this, if we want to move this hello to this last bar, then we need to do DTL time. This should be the current time. This should just be time. Okay, and you see it shows up right there. All right, but we're going to forego all this right now. We're going to use the OOEL, the easy language, object-oriented language. Object-oriented easy language, OOEL? Yeah. All right, so then we're going to say, if it's the last bar on the chart, if it's last X, then begin, and we're going to have that T label equals text label dot create. And then how we're going to create it, we're going to use a point for the location, and then we're going to put the string. Okay, so the point that we're going to use is going to use a datetime point, dt point dot create, And then what does it need? It needs the date time, using the date time. Okay, so we can just use the bar date time. And then we'll say hello 2. All right, so that is the date time. I feel like we need something else. Bar date time and the location, which we'll put it at the high. Okay, hello, close this, and then T label, we'll do color equals color dot red, and then we'll do drawing objects dot add T label. Drawing objects dot add T label. Okay, you see it put it here. All right, that should put it at the, oh, okay. You see, it did put it at the high. So now this is formatting, right? So even though we put it here, we would expect for it to be here. Well, that's just a minor detail, right? That's just, so the anchor point is right here, right in that middle, okay? But your text can be below the anchor point, above the anchor point, to the right of the anchor point, to the left of the anchor point. So if we verify this and it puts it at the bottom of the anchor point, then all we have to do is say, all right, well, we need to change the vertical orientation. So T label dot V style equals, and I don't remember what the style is. I think it's vertical style dots. So the anchor point, you want the anchor point to be at the bottom, I think. All right, now when we verify it, now the anchor point is at the bottom, and now it puts hello at the top, okay? So when you plotting this string at the bottom of the low, the anchor point is already at the top by default. So it will show up like this, and you'll say, huh, that looks right, okay? So again, if I was to move this as the low, we'll move this one out of the way. Verify the script, you see it put it at the low, okay? All right, but you see how this is up here instead of down here. Now when we verify it, because I put it, for the anchor point to be at the top, which is, like I said, is the default, it puts it down here. Okay, so we'll put the anchor point to be at the bottom because we're going to use the high as our reference, and it puts it back up there. All right, so that's the next way that you can bring information onto your chart that you might be interested in. So then the next way that we'll do it is, and we talked about this the other week. Some of this is a little bit of a repeat of a video I did before. If last X, then info box. What do you want to be in the info box? So the message, which is a string, the caption, a string. I don't think one of these you don't need. I think you just really need the caption. An integer for the X position, integer for the Y position. Okay, so if last X, then info box, we will say, like I said, I don't think you need the first one. The second one you do need. Hello again. We'll do the X position of 100 and the Y position of 100, and I believe this is 100 starting from the top left over, top left down, right? So X, Y. Verify that. Then, value 1. This is not, so it's like some statements or formulas you don't need to assign to a variable, to a value, but a lot of these functions you do. So you have to assign this function to a value. So we'll just say value 98. Okay. All right, here we go. Info box function was called. All right, so we did need this first one, so we don't need the second one. Okay, so we'll move this over here. Verified. Hello again. Okay. YouTube 042725. Verify. Okay, so that's the title there. So this is the text. The first one is the text. The second one is the title. And then the third and fourth are the positions. So we can drag that down a little bit. lower if we want to. Okay. All right, and then you just hit OK to get out of it. That uses the info box. Okay, so if something happens on the chart, then you can just say, hey, instead of putting a plot on it, I want it to put up an info box. And I think that info box stays up indefinitely. We can check the info box. This might be one that only stays open for 30 seconds. But you can change this info box to work however you want it to work, because you can just make a box yourself. Info box, you see it is set to show. Visible. Okay, button. Info box topmost, create. Yeah, I think this might be one that stays up indefinitely. No way to dismiss info box while the code is running on historical bar. Okay, but either way, that's not what we are on here today to talk about. Okay, so we have a plot, we have a string, we have an info box. The next thing that you can do is commentary. Okay, so we'll say if last X, then commentary. And oddly enough, when you put commentary, if you right click on this, hit definition of commentary, you'll see that how commentary, when you put the parentheses, it asks for a string. You need a string there, right? Because that's what's going to show up. So, but usually when you pull up one of these, formulas or one of these statements, if you hit the parentheses, it'll tell you what to put here. This one doesn't do it. So don't be alarmed. Just know that you need to put something here. So we'll say if last X, then hello, this is the commentary. All right, hit verify there. Okay, so now this one doesn't show up on the chart though, right? And so if you click on the chart with your left mouse, you see there at the very bottom of that window, it says plot 1. Okay, that's this plot here. It says plot 1. Now these strings don't show up, right? You can move these strings around. This string here, because it was created with this guy here, the text new, I don't think you can lock it. This string here, this red one, we can lock though. You know, because if you're clicking on the chart to drag it around or something, you don't want to accidentally click this and then move your string and you don't know what it was referencing. So let's make sure we lock that. Label.lock equals true. Now we verify. Now it's locked. Right? Click on it. It's locked. Okay. But again, when you click vertically of this bar, it will give you information about that bar. When you click vertically over this bar, it will give you information about this bar. Now, the commentary that we just did should show up right here, right? Or at least when you click on that bar. But to get to the commentary, you have to go here. I'll drag this over so you can see the whole top. This right here, analysis commentary. You might have to pull it up under your customize and your toolbars. I'm not sure which one it is. It might be. Just go to all commands and then scroll down till you get to commentary. Uh-oh, I don't see it. Maybe it's analysis commentary. Yeah, analysis commentary. Click on that and then you can drag it to wherever you want. All right, drag it right there. But I don't want it right there, so I'll drag it out. Hit cancel. All right, so when you click on this analysis commentary, click on that, and now you see that bubble over my cursor. You see the bubble over the mouse. Okay, so now when I click on something, it gives me this screen over here. Okay, and there's no analysis commentary generated for that bar. Click on this one. Nothing generated for it. That is one other thing I noticed about the analysis commentary. So I think that's very important. You see, when I click this out, every time I click on this chart, it brings this info box up again. I believe that this, when I use analysis commentary, it's actually rerunning the entire script every time. which is kind of crazy, especially if you run it on a live chart or something like that and you have multiple bars where this has to run. I think that doesn't necessarily make sense because it would take a lot of processing power, but I could be wrong, and I might be. But if you click over this bar, right, it says, hello, this is the commentary, right? Because this is the last bar on the chart. Now, if you click on the bar before it, click on that, nothing has been generated. But we click on that. All right, so I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll try... We'll print something. And I believe my suspicions will be proved correctly. Print. We only want to print it once because it'll just print every time that the technique is run. Once print technique has been run. Ran? I don't know. All right, so you see I verified that technique has been run. It just ran one time. Okay, so now if I click on this bar, it's been ran again. If I click on this bar, it's been ran again. If I click on this bar, it's been ran again. This bar has been ran again. Now, imagine though, because I'm sure you guys are all astute enough to know that when these scripts run, it runs on every single bar. I mean, the computer is pretty quick, so it runs through it very quickly, but it runs on every single bar. Your script runs on every single bar. That being said, if you're using analysis commentary and it's got to run on every single bar, I think that's a lot of processing power just for you to get that little bit of information from the analysis commentary. Where did it go? Oh, here, I'm sorry. Just for you to get this bit of information here, for it to run that much, that's a lot. Okay, so I would be cautious of analysis commentary. Okay, let's see. So to bring information to the chart, we talk about using the plot. We talk about a string, the normal native style of the string, and then the easy language version of a object text label. And then we did the info box. Then we did the analysis commentary. Oh, the one thing I saved this the best for last. The one thing that I learned here, and like I said, I've been playing around with easy language. I've been playing around with Tradestation for quite some time, but I just learned this the other day. I had a suspicion, but I just learned this the other day. What I learned was that you can take advantage of the window. So I'm gonna drag this back down to the bottom. See this here? I can put information right here. So right now it's showing that the last value here, the last value that was plotted was 5125 because that was the low, 5125. But I can also put a plot. We'll just say if last X, then plot 2 is hello. I didn't realize I could do this. Verify. Okay. Oh, it did it in yellow. Let's change that color. The plot. I feel like there's something else I need to put. The plot name and then the color. We'll do it in red. Okay. All right. So it says hello. See? That's cool. So you can put that information right here in this line of information. I've wanted to do something like this in the past. I just didn't know how to do it, where to put it. So I've made all kinds of little, done all kinds of little things to give me this information here. Whether it's on one, well, it'd take too long to pull it up, but I will make little like this. I'll make little squares like this just to give me information. This right here, little icon boxes. I make a lot of little stuff to give me information on the chart, but I didn't know that I could put information here like this. Obviously, in the chart up here, I don't say you're bombarded, but you get a lot of information in the top of this chart here, which I don't use this information in this part of the chart. I don't use it up here. So probably I need to look to see how I can get rid of that information up there. And then I'll have more room for this stuff, right? Because if I take this and I drag it up top here, well, now it doesn't show up because where is it, right? It's still there, I'm sure, but it's all the way over here because it has to come after all these other ones. So let me see real quick if I can pull up where to change that information. Preferences. Data tips. Any symbol. I know I've run into it before though, that information up there. So I've just got to figure out where it's at. Oh, I bet it's under settings window. Status line. There we go. Symbol, interval, right? So I typically know what symbol it is. I don't much care about the exchange. You know, if I'm looking at something like penny stocks or something like that, I might be interested in the exchange. But I don't use LAS. I don't use net change. I don't use any of this stuff that's at the top. I use it in different places, and a lot of my indicators have this information, but I don't use any of this stuff up here. So I do studies and strategies. I'm curious of what that leaves up top. Okay. So that's putting all of the studies and strategies that I have on the chart, which right now is not many. Colors and objects label. So, okay. But then it has this. So, and this hello appears at the very end. I would like to be able to move it here to the beginning, but I don't think that's an option. Because I think this is organized in the way that I have this study, this study, this study, and this appears to be in alphabetical order, and you can't drag and drop which one appears first. So yeah, but anyway, you can get the information up there, so that's kind of cool. I thought I saw somewhere one time too, though, where you can change whether or not this information is available to the status line. Because if I could say, hey, well, this is not available, this will not show in the status line, well, then I can say, all right, well, this script here, color changes to objects. What that color changes to objects is it's a script that allows me to press keys on my keyboard and quickly change the color of certain things and change the transparency of it, so that way I can do my markups fairly quickly, right? I can do my markups fairly quickly just by changing the colors. So that's kind of cool, but I don't need all this information up here because it just bogs down the status line. Okay, so let me see if I can get rid of that. So status, no, show, no. See if it gives us anything really quickly. Get account status, dialog status. No, that's one thing that I need to put on my to-do list to see if I can find how to affect that. Nope. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think it was a setting. Come here and go to color changes, double click that, hit customize, and then go to advanced. Nope, general. Style. Well, I'm going everywhere now. General. Yeah, I think it's here. It's here. display plot value and status line data tips. This is what I was thinking about, but because I actually don't have plot value for this color changing one, this doesn't even show up. But I didn't want it in the status line anyway, and it doesn't even give me the option. So let's try it here. So I might have to go into the script and actually put something in the plot line just so that that box shows up so I can gray it out. All right, so for this hello, because it does plot something, if I go to it and go to customize, what was it? Style, plot one. I don't remember there being a plot two, but anyway, I'm gonna uncheck this and uncheck this, and then see. Oh, okay, so it did disappear. All right, so I think that's what I need for my color changes object one. Okay, so that's something that I'll look at, so that's cool. But yeah, those are the main things I want to show you today. I think there was a few other things that I did come up with, but I'll tell you what I did the other day, and I've got a little bit of work to do today as well. But I went to, I went to this kind of like this help file. I went over to class libraries. No. I went to the error. There's like an area for errors. Yeah, easy language verification errors. I just clicked on that, and then I just started at the top, and I just read through all of this. I read through all of this, and as I read through it, it gave me, yeah, that's one of the things I want to do today. But that'll have to be another video. As I read through all these, it gave me ideas about things that I could do. It gave me some insight about things that I wasn't doing, that I either could do or could do better. But yeah, just reading through all these errors. So I don't know if that gives you guys any ideas, but one of the things I've been working here on recently is just scaling, using the strategies to scale in and out of positions. So just realizing that you can use words like current shares in your strategies. And if you're not in your strategy, say you're in an indicator, instead of current shares, you use current shares, right? One is available to strategies, one is available to other indicators, and not vice versa. Another thing that you can use is $. Well, it said, I haven't used it yet, but that was going to be what I was working on today, was $at. Maybe it's discontinued, but it said that you could use $at. So I'll look at that a little bit later, but I know I did do a little something with it, and it didn't give me any errors. Oh, you know what? It might be because I'm not in a strategy. Let's see. Delete. Okay, now $at. Nope. Okay, so we're going to say if low is less than SA9 and average entry price equals 0, then buy first purchase by, see, next bar open. Can I do that? Okay, so no errors. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna add it to this chart. That is, delete this one, turn it on, hit OK, come over here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna say, just so it can be visible on the screen, we're gonna say if it's this date, 04/25 at 14:39. So just get rid of this. If date equals 125/04/29 and time equals 16 39. Oh, and the average and average price. Okay, verify that. Okay, verified. All right, so let's come back over here. Status, turn it on. Okay, why didn't it buy? Let's see. Update is 125.04.25. Okay, so we did a first purchase here. Okay, you remember it says that the time is 16:39. Well, 16:39 is here, but the next bar open is right here. Okay, so we bought it there. All right, so and actually let's sell short because so maybe we can show that we made money. We're going to sell short. Okay, and then we're going to say if time is 16:48, if day is equal to 125. You know what? We'll make it a little bit more. I'm gonna say complicated, but intuitive. So if we actually have a position on, now this is how I typically write my strategies, but I learned something, so we're gonna see if it works better. So we're gonna typically I'll say if average entry price is greater than 0. And time is equal to, we'll go here. Time is equal to 16:45. Then buy to cover. Next bar open. Okay, and you see how it worked there. All right, but so what I want to do is instead I want to use as the price moves down. I want a stop. I want a stop. So it'll stop right here like a sell stop, essentially a buy to cover stop. Then buy to cover. And like I said, this is my first time trying to use this, so I'm not really sure how it works, but I think essentially you're supposed to be able to reference the bar that you bought on. So the bar that I bought on was this bar, and the entry time was here. Entry time was here. Entry price was $57.91 or so, something like that, right? So the way I think it works is you should be able to say entry price is greater than 0, and time is equal to 16:45. Then, we don't need to do the time, not the way we're about to do it now, because we're going to use a stop. So we're just going to say if the entry price is greater than 0, then buy to cover entry first purchase. You want to cover this entry called first purchase, right? It's called first purchase. You want to buy to cover this entry first purchase at and so this should be using the dollar. This should be using the price level that you purchase, right? Price level that you purchase, which was a sell short here. So we're just going to say, so that was 57. And if we go down here, that goes down to 52. So we'll say this purchase price minus 5. And then we'll say stop. Yeah, so for some reason it doesn't recognize it. I'm pretty sure it was $at. All right, now let me go show you where I found that at, and then we'll see if we can figure out how to correct it. Hang on. Okay, so just kind of scrolling down here to where, for some reason, oh, there we go. At, no, that's not gonna work. $ at. Yeah, I must have that name wrong. It's $ something. I remember that. Okay, so at $. Okay. Again, guys, I'm not a professional here, right? So at $ minus the 5, and that's gonna be a stop. Now verify. Okay, so then buy to cover. Okay, then buy to cover entry of first purchase. And our entry was a sell short, so buy to cover should be the opposite side. -5 stop. Market stop and limit orders must specify next bar. At this price -5 stop next bar. Then buy to cover next bar. Then buy to cover. Yeah, I've got to figure this out. Then buy to cover entry next bar at. Okay. At stop. There we go. Okay, there we go. Good. So we entered at 57. Well, I guess it's actually ended up being 58. And so we said subtract 5 from it. So it exited at 53 something. Somewhere in there. I think that's pretty close. That's pretty good. All right. Now the other thing that, so typically I'll use if average entry price is greater than 0, which means that you are in a position. And if you're in a position, then yeah, your price that you entered at is going to be greater than 0. So typically I use that, but instead, learning what I learned after looking through these errors, instead I'm going to start using if current shares. And like I said, current shares greater than 0. All right, and like I said, I've been doing it the other way for so long, and it's been fine because I've only been interested in trading and looking at one contract. But so since now I'm interested in working out some type of scaling plans, and I need to know the number of shares, I kind of found out that we do have access to the number of shares in a position in a strategy. And it's like I said, it's current shares in a strategy. If you're not in a strategy and you're in like an indicator, then you can use current shares. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it, folks. I appreciate you for hanging out with me. If you learned something new, then by all means, share it with somebody. Like, subscribe, join me over on Discord, ask me questions. You know, when I learn, you learn, we learn together. Anyway, I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.